So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. In our last video, we did a full and detailed documentary on Junior Pope, life to death, more like an autobiography. It was very detailed and it will be great to watch that video. It would expose you to so much background information about the late Junior Pope. I'm going to link that video down in the description box. In today's video, we will be diving right into the events of the 10th of April 2024, the day that Junior Pope passed, and we're gonna begin immediately. On the night of April 2024, Junior Pope took to his Instagram to post a video of him on the River Niger. The River Niger is the longest river in Nigeria and the third biggest in the whole of Africa. It stands between Delta State and Anambra State, separating the South region from the core Eastern region. It spans over 4,000 kilometers in length. Junior Pope was on board this river on a canoe. I don't mean the paddling canoe. You know that these canoes that cannot move until you paddle. No, not that one. He was on an engine powered canoe. Some people call it a speed canoe. It comes with its own little engine. He captioned that video, "See me lamenting the risk we take to entertain you. Crossing River Niger yesterday with no life jackets. Now wow, who does that?" And then he tags the producer at the Maluk production. Let us hear what he had to say in that video.
I beg, no vex, yeah? Yeah, bros? Don't leave me there, bro, no vex. Over the love. Yes, sir.
So when he posted himself on that canoe, on board that gigantic river, it was nothing unusual. Unusual, in quotes. It was not unusual. Because if it were unusual, you would have seen comments in the comment section reprimanding him, asking him why he should be on such a ginormous river without a life jacket. His fans would have started cautioning him. The blogs would have started carrying the news of Junior Pope on the River Niger without the life jacket, with just this little canoe. It would have sparked outrage. Even he himself, if it was perceived as a gross act of irresponsibility and an abomination, he himself would not have posted that video because he would not want to set up himself for drags. But he filmed it and he posted it because nobody would pay mind to the fact that what was being done was extremely dangerous. Every day, thousands of Nigerians commute through rivers and seas and oceans on these little canoes without life jackets. So he perceived it possibly as cruise and not a big deal. I do not know how many of you have gotten on board these canoes before or have seen it face to face. Tiny little fragile thing made of wood. Not even the best of woods, usually constructed by the locals, sometimes just at the riverbank. A canoe which should have a maximum people capacity of maybe 5 to 6 persons would typically carry about 10 to 12 persons sardined in it. And while you're in it, you will feel the full strength of the wave quiver under you as it struggles to retain balance. Huge splashes of water would typically come into the canoe, drenching you due to how extremely shallow these canoes are. And oftentimes the engines of this canoe would abruptly go off in the middle of the ocean and you would see the driver pulling and struggling to restart it. These engines, not bigger than I better pass my neighbor generator, a very risky and undependable mode of transportation, but very commonly used. So Junior Pope, along with some of his colleagues, were in Asaba for a movie shoot. Junior Pope was to play lead role in a movie titled The Other Side of Life, a movie owned and produced by one Miss Adanma Luke. This video, shot and posted by Junior Pope, was recorded when he was on his way to the shoot. A day before the incident, the shoot took place in a forest in a village there in Annam, so it was obviously a village themed shoot. And so they did their thing, they shot their movie, and when they were done, they made to return back to town to get some rest, refresh themselves, catch some sleep so they can be ready for the next day's shoot. So Junior Pope had parked his car at the other end of the river, just at the riverbank, and he boarded the same canoe under the same circumstances as we saw in this video, without a life jacket. He was in company of some of his colleagues, some crew members, the makeup artist Abigail, one of the best in the East, the sound engineer guy, and 2 other crew members. Other passengers also filled up the boats, and so they hit the river. Now we all know the lifestyle of entertainers, the bedu, the cruise, the jaye, and all of that. Some of them were vibing, some of them were dancing, some of them were on their phone making snaps and taking pictures, some of them had their hands in the water feeling it, another was standing and dancing, ringing a bell with his shirt taken off. It was like a party in there, like they were on some kind of boat cruise. But what they forgot was that this was no boat. This was just a wooden canoe, and that the driver was no captain or skipper. He was just a young amateur whose certification to pilot a canoe could have just been watching his father ride one. That they had no life jackets, and that they were in the middle of a river that has its depth going as deep as 2 million kilometers square. The enormity of their risk was neither appraised, made provision for, or even taken account of. And so the unexpected happened. As they sped on, another boat was coming this way, and obviously the driver of their canoe was not paying attention, because if he was, he would have seen the other boat approach. The reason for his distraction is not yet established. Some say that it was this actor TC Okafor who was standing up and dancing and obstructing the view of the driver, an allegation that TC himself has denied. But there are several theories as to why the canoe driver lost focus. But whatever the reasons were, it was crystal clear that the canoe driver was not paying attention to what was in front of him. And just in a split second, just like a Titanic and an iceberg moment, just in a flash, they were face to face with another boat, a bigger boat. The driver did his best to make a sharp escape. Oh, he tried to swerve away to avoid a collision, but it was already too late. They were already in close proximity. The nose of their canoe crashed into the rear of that other boat, and bang, they were up in the air and thrown into the river.
We got to the middle of the sea, and coincidentally we saw a boat, and the boat was about dodging us, and our own flying boat was about dodging too. Suddenly we are very close to the boat, which is a canoe, a normal canoe, not a flying boat like ours. We saw the canoe guy jumping inside the river. We don't have that time, we don't have that opportunity, we don't have that luck to dodge it. So finally he clamped on top of the small canoe, and that was how we all tumbled automatically inside the water.
In that split second, everything had changed. A once joyful atmosphere suddenly turned bleak. A fierce battle between life and death ensued. Catastrophe loomed. The driver, at the last moment when he saw that an accident was inevitable, had taken a dive into the river and had swum his way to safety. Well, if you do not know, these guys, these locals that operates these canoes are very skilled swimmers right from their early ages. These villages that have boundaries with river, oh my god, the indigenes are usually fishers right from a tender age. They go to the river, they are familiar with water. They do not have challenges swimming long distances. And that is why sometimes when you see them throwing caution to the wind and driving at a reckless speed, it is very painful, because when that tragedy occurs, they are usually the first to get saved. So the driver swam himself to safety. This TC guy who was ringing the bell said that he held onto the rope of the boat, so it managed to keep him afloat, and that another lady was holding on to him, while Junior Pope and some others could not navigate the heavy tides of the river Niger. They could not maneuver this ferocious river. They struggled and fought to stay afloat. They couldn't. And then they began sinking.
The guy who drive the boat where Junior Pope they enter. Yes. The guy no look well. Another boat they come. This the guy no even look. They get now even this by yourself on the boat say see another boat, see another boat. Before the guy go open eye, the two boats don't already near each other. Oh, that the thing, like their own boat, not down that one. That the thing.
Well, no divers, no divers.
No divers now. And the thing they pay me because there's no divers here. So the thing going happen now, all of them don't already done the inside water. But luckily for TC virus and two other persons, TC virus just rush hold the
come this side,
another boat from the other side because it's say boat don't capsize, they just rush come. As just rush come, he already not see TC virus them and other people like this boat don't capsize. Now them between the same they stood those ones when they see. So the students they carry them come out. Now then they call it like say other people see them inside the water. So now inside that place, no people see them inside the water. So now all of them the boat come go back. May go find them. They bring one first guy. That one now don't die. They bring guy already died. So they use the other person they see now. Junior Pope like they see for the water. So they come carry and come.
It turned out, very luckily so, that some onlookers had observed the whole episode play out. So immediately, they mobilized themselves for a rescue mission. They rescued TC and the lady that was holding on to him because they were still afloat the water. And according to him, he was the one that told them that Junior Pope was still in the river. So when they dropped him off at the bank, they went back to fetch him. They first emerged with the body of another guy who was dead, and after some minutes, they came out with Junior Pope. This very sad story is about to get interesting, and I do not mean that in a fun way. Gut-wrenchingly interesting. When Junior Pope was retrieved from the river, he was laid on the floor at the river bank. And he was surrounded by a sea of people who gathered there screaming and shouting, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Jesus, 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 Jesus.
There was not a single soul in the crowd who had knowledge of the importance of CPR at this point. None of them knew how to perform it. None of them had the inkling to rush him to the hospital. No chest compressions, no mouth to mouth, no effort to resuscitate him, nothing. He could have been alive. He could have been struggling for life, but no. Their bodies were laid down at the riverbank, just like market wares, right on the floor, while people feasted their eyes and made videos of them. That is not the worst. It is alleged that he was taken straight from the riverbank to the morgue. Who certified him dead? Who pronounced him dead? Perhaps they just did a physical examination, checked his nose and felt that he wasn't breathing, there was no air movement. Perhaps laid their ears on his chest and felt they didn't feel the heartbeat. The heartbeat was not audible enough. And then an amateur there at the riverbank just pronounced him dead. And they started transporting him to the mortuary. Where is that done? Not taking him to the hospital even if he was dead. Shouldn't the hospital certify him dead on arrival? Shouldn't the hospital issue a death certificate? Shouldn't a medical practitioner double check? How can you take anybody from an accident scene straight to the morgue without any certified medical practitioner pronouncing him dead? But no, that did not happen. They moved him from the accident scene to the morgue. When the mortuary attendant was presented with the body of Junior Pope, he was to begin embalming him and closing all the openings in his body and doing everything that is supposed to be done on the corpse. But these guys have dealt with dead bodies for so long that they can tell when one is actually dead and when there is still life in somebody. When the mortuary attendant wanted to get to work with Junior Pope, he was shocked. He was like, no, this man is not dead. He's still very much alive. Why did you guys bring him here? Take him and get help from him. We can't embalm him. He's alive. Oh Lord, imagine the amount of time being wasted. He was fighting. He was struggling. He was seeking for help. It wasn't coming. So when the mortuary attendant announced the fact that Junior Pope still had life in him, a big decision had to be made. A hospital or a traditional home, a medical doctor or a native doctor. A quick decision needed to be made because time was of the essence. As they struggled to make a decision, several different confusing counselings were coming from left, right, front, back and center. It was a state of frenzy. Some people suggested that he be taken to the hospital, a conventional hospital with conventional doctors, not native doctors, not herbalists, while several others contended that that would be the biggest mistake. That if he is taken to the hospital, he will die. That this has happened several times. They are indigenous of that community. They know how it's done. Several times people have been in this position and they took them to the herbalist and the herbalist did his thing and brought them to life. It is not new. It is their culture. The gods need to be appeased. That is his only chance at survival. And so they won. And they rushed Junior Pope to a native doctor who has his shrine facing the river where Junior Pope drowned. When Junior Pope got there, the native doctor did some observation and announced that he can feel the spirit of Junior Pope hovering and lingering around, and they needed to commence immediately that he would bring the spirit back. He got to work frantically, gathered his tools, faced Junior Pope to the Annam River. He lit a firewood. He said he needed the smoke to get into the nostrils of Junior Pope so he can sneeze, that once he sneezes, he'll be back to life. He got a white chick, a newborn baby chick, white in color, and started hitting it around Junior Pope. He was deep in his ritual performance, chanting his incantations, conjuring, beckoning the river goddess to have mercy, offering sacrifices and appealing to her. Oh, he was doing everything. And according to eyewitnesses, Junior Pope's fingers moved.
If you watch my video, you see he was sitting now. He was getting conscious. Like, if you watch the video where he sit down, they try to bring him to life. Once as he comes to that place, he can do like this, bam, he hand shake. Now the man can say he don't come back. Because the man said that this guy's spirit, they wander around. Saying they see the spirit, they wander around. Make we wait, saying bring the spirit. Everybody left. He carry face water. Because the man shrine face water. So he carry face, can carry firewood and smoke.
Now be that firewood where they there where they light fire.
Make the smoke they enter in nose. Make you know that if he sneeze. Carry balm, carry so many things on. Can carry uyom. You know what uyom now? This chicks.
That white top.
Chicken. That's more one.
Chicken, yeah.
Come use don't come out. Small time the guy hand do like this. Ebo can shout.
Be that shout.
Can carry him because man can see more carry and go hospital go give him drip.
When Junior Pope's fingers moved, onlookers let out a loud roar in jubilation. A triumphant resurrection. Satisfied that he had brought Junior Pope back to life, the herbalist then gave them leave to take him to the hospital to go receive drip. The Actor Guilds of Nigeria President Emeka Rollas took to his Instagram to break the good news that Junior Pope was back to life. All the blogs that reported his death began retracting their statements. His colleagues took to their social media pages to celebrate his comeback to life. While all these celebrations were happening, he was being taken to the hospital just as directed by the native doctor. When they got to the hospital, they began connecting him to the EKG, the EEG, blood pressure monitor. Everything was being connected. And what the doctor saw was very far from pleasing. Every single line was flat. Nothing was moving. Nothing was reading. He was pronounced dead. Refusing to accept that pronouncement, members of the team took him and rushed him to another hospital. Oh, they couldn't go down that road again. When he got to the second hospital, medical personnel there began laboring, connected him to all sorts of machines, tried everything possible in the world. He was dead. Looking back now, one can say that that movement, that last finger movement that he made at the herbalist's shrine, was not him coming back to life as many assumed. It was him giving up the fight. It was his final signal of mortality, a concluding fight, an eventual end. He died of asphyxia. So many things about this story gets me sick to my stomach. First is the flagrant disregard of safety measures in this part of the world. Actions are always taken post-tragedy instead of pre-incident. We are more curative-driven, curative-minded than preventive. You will see a sock away, open a septic tank, open, obviously posing imminent danger, and everyone would pass. Nobody would make an effort to have that danger averted until a little child would fall into the septic tank, and then the next day you would see that tank covered, sealed. This culture does not only apply to the lower ends, even in bigger institutions and homes of people who are educated and enlightened and above average. You would see a bank with fire extinguishers that no staff knows how to use, and it is when fire engulfs one of the branches that you see fire drilling trainings made compulsory and being taken by the staff. Why wait? You will see a pole, an electricity pole, bent, or electricity wires littered on the floor, posing a potential hazard to people, and the government will turn a blind eye to it. But when somebody gets electrocuted, or when that pole falls and hurts somebody, you would see technicians the next day come to fix it. And you sit there wondering, so this could be fixed all along. Why wait until catastrophe happens? Why don't we embrace risk assessments? Why do we act from the back? Why do we give solutions after problems? Why don't we forecast danger and put measures to avert it? Why? In this boat mishap, in this tragedy, 5 people died while 7 were rescued. 5 young souls. 5 needless, avoidable deaths. There are plenty of holes that we can pick from this unfortunate occurrence. Begin to drop your feelings. Begin to drop them down in the comment section. But the first and the most glaring is the lack of use of safety gears. The apparent absence of life jackets, life vests. Some people have thrown big blame to the producer Adan Maluk for not putting measures in place to ensure the safety and well-being of her employees, because they are being paid by her for that movie. So as long as that movie is concerned and everything surrounding getting that movie to production, these people, these actors are her employees. She owes them a duty of care. These set of people have called for the head of Adan Maluk to be served on a platter. They have called that she be arrested and prosecuted for criminal negligence. While some other people are like, no, Of course, when any tragedy happens, people are very desperate to pin it on somebody, to make someone take the fall, to make someone pay for it. But no, every single person in that boat was an adult. And they got into the canoe on their own volition. It was their responsibility to ask for a life vest and to refuse to board, to refuse to shoot if it wasn't provided, and that Adanma cannot take the fall for it because it is completely impossible for her to be everywhere at the same time to ensure that adults are doing the right thing. These are the two arguments making the rounds. What do you think? Another very serious bone of contention is the decision to have taken Junior Pope to a herbalist instead of the hospital. Some people have contended that before foreign missionaries and our colonial masters invaded our lands and forced their religion on us, we had a practice as a people. We had a religion that worked for us. We had how we offered prayers and those prayers were answered. We had our own culture, and just because of majority of us are Christians does not validate us downplaying our culture or our traditional religion. They argue that these waters have powers that control them, and there was nothing absolutely wrong for taking the traditional approach. That was exactly how it was done from time immemorial. Doesn't make us satanic, doesn't make us demonic, doesn't make us evil as Christianity has painted it. And just because he passed does not mean that traditional religion is evil. After all, many people go to the hospitals and still die. They insist that it was quite unfortunate that he passed, and that is how it was destined to be, whether he was taken to the herbalist or he was taken to the hospital. While some others vehemently opposed this stand, they were like, no, you cannot serve two masters at the same time. You cannot be paying homage to the river goddess and making herbalists use chicken and chalk on you, and you're still praying to Jesus and God. Choose a master. They argue that Junior Pope should have been taken to the hospital straight up for medical resuscitation, and that all those time wasted from the mortuary to the herbalist were valuable time that would have been used at the hospital to save his life. And so I ask, what do you think? Which of these two schools of thoughts do you believe? Drop your honest opinion down in the comment section. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's sad and tragic story. A very, very painful and needless loss. May God give his wife, his children, his parents, his siblings, his loved ones, friends, lovers all over the world the fortitude to bear his loss. As more information unpacks and if more credible information comes up, be sure that I will keep us updated. If you're new here, you're seeing me for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, drop all your comments, your thoughts, your feelings, your condolences, every way you feel down in the comment section, and stay glued because we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.